You may recall from the course introduction when we demonstrated PrintBay that it has two different user types. It has regular users and an admin user. So regular users have permission to log in and buy prints, but admin users have some additional features allowing them to edit items as well as create new items and delete items. So the final piece in our authentication mechanism will be adding a role property to each user. Now this can be used to further control access to particular resources. So to begin with, we'll add an additional property to our model, which will be role. And we're going to give this a type, which will be string. Unlike our other strings though, we're going to limit the possible values of this string to either admin or just plain user. So to do this, we're going to add another property called enum, and we're going to assign this an array. And there's going to be two members of this array, admin or user. The enum property means Mongoose will validate this field and will reject the value of role if it's set to anything but one of these two values. Finally, we're going to set a default property, and the default will be user, like that. Let's now consider, do we want the new role property to appear on the user object when it's sent as part of a response body? We definitely do, because the client is going to need this to check the user type in the front-end app. So let's update our toJSON transform method and ensure this new role property gets included. To keep things simple, we're going to add another constraint. There will only be one admin account. So to enforce this, whenever a new model is created with role admin, we'll first check to ensure that one doesn't already exist. So to do this, we're going to add another pre-save hook. So let's go to the bottom of our schema file now, and we're going to call user schema again, and we're going to add a function property pre. Now the first argument is going to be save, and the second argument will be an async function. And you recall from the last time we did this that it should have an argument next. Remember that this hook is going to be called on model updates as well as model saves. So the first thing to do is check if the role property has been modified by going if this is modified role. We also want to check if the value of the role being set is admin, because we don't care if someone is changing to a regular user role. So let's just also add to this, and this dot role is equivalent to admin, like that. Now if either one of these criteria fails, we'll send them to the else block, where we'll just call next, like that. In our if block, let's now check if there is already an admin user. To do this, we can go this dot constructor dot find, and we pass in criteria for a find call. So it's going to be an object, and we're going to be looking for role to be admin. So this find call will return an array. So let's go ahead and await it. And actually we want to assign it to a variable, which will be users. Let's now nest another if in here. And we want to check if the length of users is greater than or equal to 1. If it is, we call next. But we want to pass in an error to this. Oops, I put new error. And the description of that will be only one admin user can be added. Okay, inside the else, which we'll have to put here, we can just call next like that. So that's all the logic that we need for managing user roles. So let's go ahead and run our unit test. And we're going to make sure that everything still works after the changes that we've made. And it looks like all our tests are passing. Let's quickly come over to Postman again, and let's now create a new user using the post users endpoint. And when we do, you'll see that we now have this role property being returned in the user.